Namaste. So I'm going to be doing a short yoga video this morning. I'm up here in the mountains, so it's very inspiring. So go ahead and come into a comfortable seated position. With your yoga block, sitting on your belt block, as to release your knees so that they're lower than your hips. Taking a deep inhalation in, holding it at the top, filling it up a little deeper, expanding your lungs, strengthening your diaphragm. And release. We're going to do that again. And when you hold in that oxygen, think of the life force that the oxygen is. It's called prana. And it's life force. And it's what literally makes humans and all life thrive. So you can feel the cleansing of that energy in your body as it cleanses all of you inside of the vessel that you are. So just take a nice deep inhalation. And see if you can take a little more. And release. Breathing into that calmness that you feel. Close your eyes if they aren't already. Bring your palms together. And press the thumbs into your sternum to lift the chest a little higher. Bringing the shoulder blades onto your back body. Gently bowing the head towards your chest, keeping the chest lifted. We're going to do Ong, that's O-N-G 3 times. And I change it from Om to Ong because you press the tongue on the upper palate, the N-G. And that pressing of the tongue of the upper palate releases hormones into your pituitary and pineal gland in the center of your brain, and it expands them and it helps decalcify them, and that's where all your growth hormones and all your hormones are. It's very good in regulating for your hormones when you vibrate that Om into those glands in the center of your brain. So take a deep inhalation. Om. I'm going to do that 2 more times. So take a deep inhalation. Om. Bow your chin towards your chest, keeping your chest lifted. I bow to the rishis, yogis, and yoginis who came before us with their guidance and grace. Let us begin this practice. Gently lift your head, keeping your eyes closed. Place the backs of the hands on the top of the thighs, pressing them to lift your chest. With the next inhalation, slowly begin to open your eyes with a very soft gaze, not focusing your gaze on anything, allowing that third eye focus to continue. Okay. Come onto your knees. If you can't sit on your knees, if you can't sit back your tush back onto your heels, then put a block between your tush and your heels and sit on the block. Place the tops of your hands on the tops of your thighs and pull your chest forward gently. And now push it back. forward. Push it back. This is called camel ride. It's basically like cat-cow, but seated. Just opening the spine, feeling the vertebrae move, warming up the spine gently. Now, keeping this posture as you sit up tall, bring your left hand onto your right thigh and your right hand behind you onto the floor, and twist gently. Taking a deep inhalation, twist as you exhale, looking over your right shoulder, sitting up tall as you do this. And twist deeper with this next exhalation, looking over your shoulder even further. And come out of it on the next inhalation. Now, sitting up tall. As you inhale, go over to the left side with your right hand on your left thigh and your left hand on the floor behind you, sitting up tall. As you exhale, twist a little deeper into the pose, looking over your left shoulder. Next exhalation, go deeper into the pose, looking deeper over your left shoulder. Getting a little eyeball stretch in there. And come back forward. Very good. Now let's do some gentle neck circles. So just slowly, very gently. Small circles if you need to, if your neck is sore. The little tiny circles in the center, just right here. Little tiny ones is fine. And then expand them and go bigger as your neck warms up. If you feel any crunching, go slow where you feel the crunching. Really slowly breathe into that crunching. You can stop if it hurts a lot. Stop and breathe into it and then continue. Going to the other side now. Opposite direction. Good. Now sit up tall. And we're going to come into hands and knees. Just one cat-cow, just warm up the spine. And then press your feet into the floor to lift your pelvis, keeping your knees bent, pressing your pelvis, lifting it up towards the ceiling, pressing your palms, hands very strong. Do not dump your strength into your wrists. So you're using all the muscles. You're pressing the floor as though you're holding a basketball. You're really working your hands, working your shoulder blades onto your back body, and your ears are next to your arms. Now with the next inhalation, exhale and press your heels towards the floor to straighten your legs gently. Lengthening your heels towards the floor, feeling those calves open. Now let's do some foot stretching here. So turn your foot over and push the top of your foot into the floor. Put a little bit of weight into those toes. This is really good because your feet never get stretched, and this is the opposite that you usually put them in. So it's really good for your foot. Put that foot down and do the opposite toe. Pressing your toes. I like to put a lot of weight here. I've gotten so I can do both of them at the same time. Put a lot of weight. Stay where you are in your body. And bring them back down to the floor. And let's go into Anjalayasana. Stepping the right foot forward. Placing the back knee down on the floor. And feeling the hip flexor open on that back knee as you just stay here for a second and breathe into that hip flexor. On the next inhalation, I want you to push yourself up. Lifting up out of the spine, lengthening the spine up and cactusing your arms so that you feel the shoulder blades on your back body, and lift your chest, do a slight back bend. Now on the next inhalation, I want you to take your arm, your right arm or your left arm, and put it on that back thigh And reach your right arm up next to your ear. Getting gentle back bend in this pose. You can even go deeper into the pose if you want to. Gently coming up out of it. And stepping back into downward facing dog. Slow, concentrated movements, as to not injure yourself. Transitions are just as important as the poses themselves. So now look up and step your left foot between your hands, lowering your right knee to the floor. Again, feeling that hip flexor open of that right leg. Just staying here for a moment to allow that to open and feeling it. Okay, so now with the next inhalation, come up, cactus your arms. Slight back bend, feeling your chest lift as you feel your shoulder blades on your back body. Next exhalation, put your right hand on your right thigh and lengthen your left arm next to your ear. Feeling that gentle back bend. Going deeper into the pose if you can, if you want to. And the next inhalation, coming up out of it, placing your palms on the floor and stepping back with the next inhalation into downward facing dog. Now we're going to come into some standing poses. So step your right foot between your hands, lengthen your back foot to the floor with a slight inward rotation. Your toes slightly inward, your heel a little further back than your toes. So you get an angle there. And bend this front knee. This is the part that I don't see people doing in class. I really want you to bend this front knee. Bend it. Not this. Bend it. Use that strength. This is where all your strength is, in your quads and your thighs. And really feel the lengthening of that back leg as you straighten it. Lengthen your arms up and gaze over your wrist. Making sure that your knee does not go beyond your ankle. On the next exhalation, bring your right hand to the floor next to your right foot. Take a deep inhalation and rotate your arm up and over your ear into Parsva Kondasana. And then really feeling the twisting gently of your ribs here as you lengthen up out of it. And gaze up at your palm as you're reaching with your left hand as though you're grabbing something behind you. So you're really engaging and using that shoulder blade. Feeling the strength here in your thighs, not using too much of that arm to hold you up, but actually really feeling the strength in your legs and your body weight in your legs. Next exhalation, bring your palm down to the floor and step back into down dog again. Now we're going to come into plank, chaturanga, lower the pelvis to the floor and the feet. Lengthen up out of the spine as you pull your chest through your arms into a gentle back bend here. You don't want to jam. That is not a pose. This is the pose in your strength. And lift up. And with the next inhalation, step your left foot through between your hands. Lower the right foot down at that angle, just like the last one. Your heel is aligned with your arch of the back foot. Okay. Come up. And again, feeling the strength of your thighs. Really bend into that front knee. Make sure that the knee does not go beyond the ankle. You're wide enough so that you don't do that. Lengthen out of the pose as you lengthen your arms and gaze over your wrist, your left hand. Breathing here, soft, gentle breaths. In and out of your nose. Next exhalation, Bring your left palm to the floor and rotate your right arm up and over and around your face so that your armpit is right next to your face. And then, as though you're reaching for something behind you, with that right arm, gaze up and at your right hand. Feeling the length all the way from your heel and your toes to your fingertips. As you lengthen and feel that length. 2 more breaths here. And bring your palm to the floor again. Step back into down dog. Good, now step between your feet, between your hands to forward fold. If you cannot do forward fold, bring a block underneath you so that you do not hurt your spine. Never take it out of your back. You always want your spine to be lengthened, not rounded, unless you're beyond 98 degrees. Now you can round your back. And then lengthen up out of your spine to Ardha Uttanasana, halfway forward fold. And step back into downward facing dog. Come into plank. Chaturanga. Lower your pelvis to the floor and lift your chest through your arms once again into gentle back bend, pulling your chest through your arms, pressing your feet into the floor to get it out of your lower back, and press up into down dog. Now we're going to do a seated pose called Virasana, where you sit between your feet. So you actually spread your feet wider than your hips. Most of you will probably have to sit on a block for this, which is fine. You all start somewhere. I had to start on a block. And then when you're sitting here, lengthen your toes behind you and make sure that they're pointing straight back. You're not sickling your feet inward or outward, but they're directly pointing back. And spread your toes. Spread your toes here. Sometimes when I first started, I like to start on the block and then work my way to the floor, even if it, like, of course it's gonna hurt because it's a new pose and your body's not used to it yet, but it's actually really good for you. It's a good pain. So what you're doing is it's like maintenance for your knees, because when you do this, you're squeezing your meniscus. You're squeezing out all the synovial fluid so that when you come up out of it, you feel that rush of feeling, that sensation is all the fluid refilling. So it's like a oil change or something in your knees. So go ahead and come up out of it. Move your toes behind you, circle your feet. Okay. And then we're going to come onto our backs. Let's do one core strengthener here. So laying on your back, your palms facing down on the floor, lift your right leg up in the air and hold it with your hands and try to come up a little bit wherever you are, spine. Eventually you'll be able to do this if you keep doing it. Working that right hip towards the floor, but still keeping your foot perpendicular and lower down. And now let's do the left. So place your palms on the floor. Inhale as you lift your left leg in the air. Now grab it with the back of your back of it with your hands, and lift yourself up a little bit, wherever you are. Keeping that left foot on the floor. That's the key. So you gotta keep the opposite leg down on the floor. And lower. Working your shoulder blades onto your back body. Bend your legs. Get it out of your lower spine. Gentle, happy baby pose. Lower your feet to the floor. Lift up your pelvis off the floor and do a gentle bridge pose. Lifting your pelvis as high as you can up off the floor. Holding it there for a few breaths. Lift it higher. And lower down to the floor. Straightening your legs. Turning your palms up. Softening your tongue. Closing your eyes. Let's sigh out loud and let it all go and relax. Ah, good. Allow your eyeballs to sink into the back of your skull. Let go. Just completely feel yourself soften and let go. This is where your nerves get to soften. Something we don't get very often throughout the day, so really allow them to soften. It's very good for your nervous system. Slowly begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Take a deep inhalation. Bring your right arm up next to your ear. And roll over to your right side. Your left palm on the floor. The next inhalation. Gently push yourself up. Softly and slowly, using your arms to bring your body up to not disturb those nerves you just relaxed. Now you can sit on the block if you need to, because we're just going to do a quick closing. Bring your palms to your chest. Bow inward. I bow to the rishis, yogis, and yoginis who came before us. With their guidance and grace, let us end this practice. Namaste, Sat Nam Waheguru. I surrender myself to the universe. Gently lift your head. Press the backs of your hands onto the tops of your thighs to lengthen your spine upward. Take a deep inhalation and slowly, with a soft gaze, begin to open your eyes. Retaining that third eye focus throughout the day. Remember, you are the center of your storm, and you can go back here anytime you need to, just with your breath. Thank you.